Today, I'm going to share with you how I would break down an individual stock with no prior knowledge. We're going to deep dive into the technicals and fundamentals of SMR or NuScale power. It is down to a year and a half low in terms of demand and value looking forward. I think this is an incredible opportunity to deep dive into the stock and determine whether or not the price currently is a good buy over the next 2 to 3 years. So the first thing that I want to do, again, no prior knowledge of the company, is map out the key levels. Now, right away, when I take a look at the chart, I'm on a daily max viewing window. You could do a weekly, a monthly, a 2 day, whatever is your preference. Okay. I like a daily here, gives me a good range. The all-time low was in 2023. The all-time high was in October of 25. Okay. So right off the bat, just visually looking at it, what I see right off the bat, this is a level I want to mark. This is a level. All of these ranges where we had significant directional change. Now, what does that mean? When we touched this level here, SMR fell 70% within 9 days. When it came back and made a new high up to 32, within a month, it fell 60%. It made another high again, and within 30 days, fell 50%. So all of these specific run-ups had 50, 60, 70% drawdowns. That is significant. That is a point of directional change. That is a pivot point, whatever you want to call it, and it must be noted. The all-time high would be another example here. From 57.42, it fell 70% within a month. So without a doubt, all of these levels I want to make a mental note of because you will notice future price action will correlate with previous historical trading. And in this case, we want to look at 1121. We also see that is the low of 2025. So I'm going to make a mental note right there. This was our pivot point or our local top in March of 2024. It was a solidified bottom in 2025. That was a flip-flop and also very healthy if we bounce off that range again there and continue the push back to where we saw at the end of the previous year. Okay, so just off the bat, I would say if there's any level that I feel is truly significant, this would be it. We do not want to break 1110, 1107 to be specific. We really want to hold this range, and the low a day today was 1122. So hopefully that solidifies the bottom for SMR, pushed up off this range, which again is very healthy. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to look at the line. 1691 was the high here, so I'm just going to put a line there. 1691 doesn't have to be specific. 1695 works as well. If I want to zoom in here, I could do the highest daily close of the sequence, so maybe like 3020. If I want to be exact and do the high, I could do 3230. That works also. Again, you kind of have to play with the lines. You have to see what works, what is going to correlate to the specific ranges. When I see a big run up and then a fall, or like a huge pump and then it sells off aggressively, I'll either look at the high of this little sequence or the all-time high daily close. So for this level here, I could also see 1010 because that was the highest daily close, and then we did not break that until June. Okay, so this was a 3 month high that was solidified there. When we topped out and we closed at 1534, it took us again another 3 months from July all the way to October for it to finally break that range. So both of these run-ups are pretty identical. So now as we kind of move on and we go to the top end range here, we could do the same thing. Just kind of see, okay, the highest daily close was 5167, high of that range, 5350. What's the close? 5343. I think that's perfect to put a line right here like 53.35, 53.50, somewhere there. And that also lines up with the all-time daily close. So I know a lot of times people don't even look at that. They say, oh, daily close, all-time high, who even cares? It does matter. If you look at the all-time high weekly, all-time high monthly close, they are all significant points. Okay, but just for this video, I'm going to talk about the daily here. Now, right away, what do we notice? I put lines back from 2025, 2024. What do we notice? Well, I think it's really interesting that the previous high in 2024 acted as support in 2025. So here was a major resistance point. As we mentioned to you, when it touched this level, it fell 50%, lost half of its market cap within 35 trading days, all the way down 65% after touching that level. It did not break out and make a new high until 182 days later. So this high of 2024 was very significant. As the stock broke out, it now used that previous resistance or that previous local top as the floor, right? And held support all the way to this range up until November 11th. Okay. So very important here. And we notice almost the same level here was resistance, right? So it comes up to this level, it fails, it tries again, it fails, tries a third time, fails, takes multiple months again from November all the way to May of the previous year to finally break out. Once it breaks out, it now uses that resistance as support and it does not break that level from May all the way to November. So 6 months of resistance turns into 6 months of support. That's all you really need to know here. 6 months resistance, 6 months support, and then it breaks it down. Okay, so the levels matter. They are correlated. The previous tops, the previous liquidity zones are going to be retested in the future. And just here, you could see, same exact thing happens. Local top gets put in here, it breaks out, it comes right back, retest this level, and bounce a second time, bounce, third time, bounce, right? And it holds that support for quite some time. Previous resistance, previous ceilings become new support or new floors, and vice versa. Okay. So just be mindful of that. That is technical analysis in a nutshell. You don't have to get fancy. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't need Bollinger Bands and clouds and moving averages, RSI, MACD. It's all clutter, in my personal opinion. If it works for you, if it's profitable for you, then stick with it. But if it's not making you more money, it's just clouding your screen and clouding your judgment. Okay. Now, what am I going to do once I have all of this mapped out? How do I really know where the stock is going to reverse to? What are the key levels now to the upside? Well, pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the range here. Let's just go on like a 6 month chart just so we can get a good idea of where the high of this range here. Now, that's the all-time high. So maybe we'll go year to date instead. Okay, so year to date, we know that 22.29 is the high. Okay, so I want to make a mental note there. I'm going to put a line 22.29. If you want, you could label this. So I just want to zoom out here. Maybe we'll go like 2 year for a second and just see if there's any other key points. Okay, now what do we notice about the high of year? It was the same struggle that we had in November. So it kind of breaks this level down. It retests. It now rejects for multiple days. This is like 5 days of trying to break this level. Doesn't. Makes another attempt, comes right back up. 3 days here, price action, gets smacked down, tries again, touches that level perfectly. That's high of year, and now makes another low. Okay, so this is clearly resistance for quite some time. This is going all the way back to November. So now what we're seeing currently is 22.29 is a 4 month to 5 month high. Okay, that solidified the local top. So this is going to be significant for us. We're going to make this pink, and we want to make sure that this visually is appealing on the chart. So when the stock does recover, when it starts to climb back up, we're going to notice, oh, hey, we're right back at 21, 22 now. We have to look back at what the high of year was. Last time it touched this level, it got smacked down and lost 50% of its value. It struggled in December, it struggled in November. So that's another point where it can come back up to this level and sell down again. Okay, if it's bullish, it might sell down. They'll soak all the liquidity up and then make a new high. Okay, but we know a speed bump or a barrier potential resistance is going to be this high of year at 22.29 just on principle. Okay, now that's very significant. All right. If you want to map out the highest daily close of the year, you could do that as well. I think that's a pretty good idea. Also, 2064. So if I put a level there, 2064, that is the highest daily close of the year. You could label that as you want. So we'll say high daily close. Put that on the right as well. High daily close, whatever you want to label it makes sense. Okay. Now, the last thing that I'll do is I'll put Fibonacci levels from the low here, 1122. I don't love doing this because we don't know if this is the bottom. We haven't had a clear confirmation of a reversal. It's still only 1 day, and we have been selling off since October, November. Okay, so the stock has been in a straight downtrend, lower highs, lower lows for 5 months. We have not gotten a aggressive enough bounce, but let's just say hypothetically this solidifies the bottom today. When we do Fibonacci levels, I would do it low to high of the year just so we can now have that visual cue. All right. So now as I zoom in here, I'm going to go on like maybe a 1 hour chart. I'm going to zoom out and just see, is there any correlation between the Fibonacci and the price action. In some cases, you'll see the extended hours is going to be a little different. If you want to edit that to fit the overnight moves, that works as well. I don't want to tell people not to do that. The levels are going to change, and you might have better correlation if you do that. But as I zoom in, I think it's pretty clear to see overall what the price is doing, right? It is working really well. As we could see from the top, it sort of has this double top rejection. It kind of sells down, reattempts here at the 382. It fails. It tries again here, comes right back down, support on the 786, breaks another range down, now uses that as resistance, right? We just saw this before. Imagine you see a big line here. This is support, right? It keeps bouncing off of this range every single time. It now breaks it down, retest. Now here's the retest and the short. Tries again, gets smacked down, tries a third time, fourth time, fifth time, and then gets pushed lower. So support now turns resistance off of this Fibonacci level. This can help you intraday with trading. Okay. So if you're trying to scalp, if you're trying to swing weekly options, this could be a good idea for you to observe. Now, I would, of course, recommend a hyper liquid stock like a Mag 7, a large tech stock, something that has really good options volume and flow. I personally don't like to trade very short-term stuff on names like SMR because, again, the volume is low. The options flow is not as juiced as something like Tesla or Microsoft or Apple or something like that. But definitely when you play with time, this could be a good opportunity for you to take advantage of the Fibonacci retracement year to date, and it will give you a really good guideline for support and resistance based off of the past 30, 40 days of trading. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this here. I just want to show that visually for you guys. And I think that's pretty basics in terms of the charting, right? I don't want to get too complicated. I don't think there's really a need to go deeper into this. The only other thing I would say is just the weekly. Now look at the weekly chart and see, do the levels match up? Is there anything else that I missed? What was the highest weekly close of the year, highest weekly close of 2025? You could do the same thing on the monthly also. Just take a look and notice, hey, is there any similarities, any correlation, anything that's lining up? If the answer is yes, then you know the levels are definitely working in your favor. Okay. Now, what I see here, just based on very textbook technical analysis here, this is a head and shoulders setup, right? If we have a nice bounce, but the problem is we don't know exactly what the market's going to do from a macro view. It's possible that the stock can form this sort of head and shoulders, but since the demand is so strong and the money's flowing back into the sector here, we might break out and test new highs and invalidate this head and shoulders. Okay, if we start entering into a bear market, is possible we could sort of see this stock pop back, maybe make a new high, bear trap, and then come lower. That's also possible. And then fitting that same narrative of the head and shoulders. Okay, I want to keep all my options open when it comes to the technical component. I don't want to marry one idea. I don't want to marry one line specifically, but I do want to note when there has been significant directional change, or what I like to call pivot points. I always notice that those significant changes in price direction always come back in the future action. Okay. I think we should leave it on that. This is my levels here. I would leave it as is. If we break down, I would probably put a line somewhere here where we looked at support, maybe in that range. If we come even lower, maybe somewhere here down to like $3. Okay, I don't see the price going that low, but again, when we just look back, we see right at this point as it touched here, we had a really big bounce, same thing, support, 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 and then big bounce. That is why I put the line here at 708 and another line here at 380. Okay, very basic, very straightforward. Hope that helped. Now, before we wrap this video up, I want you guys to head to our website, avidcapital.co/discord here. You could sign up for our private group. It's $44 a month, roughly $1 a day. Guys, if you want to change your life, you want to take control of your position in 2026, now is the time to change up your circle. This is not a copy trade, a FOMO get rich quick scheme. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We are building an incredible community of unique traders, all different walks of life, all different levels of experience We would love to have you as a member. Again, avidcapital.co/Discord. We are running a free monthly promo for our 1 year anniversary of the group. If you want a free premium membership for the month of March, we'd love to have you, give you full access to the Discord. Again, no risk, no cost to you. And if you want to sign up after, again, we would love to have you as a member. Okay, stick around for part two. We will go over the fundamentals. The link should be either on the screen or somewhere in the description if you want to dive deep into the balance sheet, cash flow, income statement, all of that good stuff to really understand the real business and how the company operates. Again, have a fantastic night. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.